forgetful, but you always remind me. You're the only one who brings me peace. You're the only one who brings me peace. So I come, Lord, I come, I come, Lord, I come to tell you I love you, to tell you I need you, to tell you there's no better place for me than in your arms, to tell you I'm sorry for running in circles, for placing my focus on the waves, not on your face. You're the only one who brings me peace. You're the only one who brings me peace. I'm so forgetful, but you always remind me. You're the only one who brings me peace. You're the only one who brings me peace. So I come, Lord, I come, I come, Lord, I come to tell you I love you, to tell you I need you, to tell you there's no better place for me than in your arms, to tell you I'm sorry for running in circles, for placing my focus on the waves, not on your face. You're the only one who brings me peace. You're the only one who brings me peace in the storm. In the storm. I'm so forgetful, but you always remind me. You're the only one who brings me peace. You're the only one who brings me peace.
Good morning. Welcome to this episode of Not Pastor Tom. It's nice to see y'all here this morning. I'm a little overwhelmed. There's a lot of people here. Good morning, Bert. Good morning, Miss Vivian and Jackie and somebody I'm not talking to and Cindy, Nikki Chase. Good morning, Yor. Good morning, Yor. And good morning, Chrissy. I know there's more.
Rachel.
Oh, here we go. Here's the rest of Good Morning You're late, Steve. Gee, Nikki, I wonder why that is. Imagine that. My wife goes on before me. It's just like church. I swear, I'm waiting for her to finish talking.
Oh, gosh.
Good morning, Olivia. And Mary Jo, it's so nice to have you with us. And I don't think
And
we do have,
Amanda
oh,
Cornick.
look at this. We got holy mackerel.
Yep.
This is a lot of pressure. Clayton, good morning.
Amanda McCormick.
Amanda McCormick. She's
And
very nice to see you.
Emily.
And Pamela C. And Emily. Wow. There's no pressure here, is there?
You must be popular.
Wow. I know. I just didn't know it was going to be me. And Pastor G. Good morning, Pastor G. It's a blessing. It's a blessing. I love my church. I love the fact that we celebrate God on Sunday. We worship him. And then what happened there? And then we do it on Monday. We do it on Tuesday. We do it on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We take Saturday off. But other than that, we celebrate Jesus every day. Yesterday, I got to sneak out of church early and go to the concerts in the park.
No, you went to.
Oh, no, I did go to the concert in the park. I went to the Scarecrow Festival and had a great time. There was 1 trillion kids. And so there was a lot of people my age there. And I love that we are encouraged at Firmly Rooted to go out and do things like that. Go out and be in the public and help and love. Mm-hmm. It's cool and it's a blast. Mondays with Steve.
Mondays with Steve.
Oh, and Nikki's still messing with me.
And Anne-Marie Bell.
Mondays with Steve. We're not going to, this is something that's not happening every one day. Don't put me in there. I don't want that. I got Fridays with the men. Today's verse is from Mark 13:10. But it's such a short verse that it needs some history. It needs some, what do you call it? It needs more context. More context. Maybe that's what it needs. More context. So I went to the context store. It's called the Bible. And I looked at chapter 13 and I thought, I'm not even going to read 13:10 until I do a little synopsis of what comes ahead of it, because there's, by itself, it just makes sense, but it's not much. So, but in chapter 13, Jesus is talking to his disciples and they're looking at the temple and they're talking about how wonderful it is and how beautiful it is and strong. And Jesus tells them that before long, it'll be stone will stand on top of each other and it'll be destroyed completely. He gives a quite lengthy warning to the disciples. And I think the two go together, even though we don't necessarily, it doesn't even necessarily seem like it, but he tells them, it goes on for 2 or 3 chapters. He tells them not to be deceived. He tells them when you'll hear rumors of wars and do not be alarmed. These things must happen, he says. He says, nations will rise against nations, kingdoms against kingdom, earthquakes, famine. They are the beginning of birth pains, he calls it. I got to go back and find out how they talked about that one. You must be on your guard. You'll be handed over to the local councils. Mm-hmm. So far, it sounds like a picnic, doesn't it? Yeah, I mean, yay. Sign me up. You'll be flogged in the synagogues. Account of me, you'll stand before kings as witnesses to them. And then, in today's verse, 13:10, verse 10, after saying all this, all these warnings, Jesus looks at him and goes, and the gospel must first be preached to all nations. Mm-hmm. What? I go, it's just like he stopped in the middle of it and said that. And The Greek word that they use for nations in this scripture was called ethnos, and it means a group of people that are affiliated by geography, cultures, tribe. So it doesn't necessarily mean Russia, China, everything like this. It basically means everybody. It means the whole world, but it could break it down to the family units, probably even so that the goal is quite extensive, which should intimidate most of us, I would imagine.
Mhm.
So why is this sentence there? That, for me, that's the real question. It's dire warnings that he leads him, tells him how horrible life is going to be for him. And then he says, but the gospel must be preached to all nations. My thought is that maybe if it wasn't there when the persecution started, they might not. They might stop. They might say, okay, this is a bad time. We should quit. But I think he's telling us the opposite. Jesus is telling them, and this is my belief. I'm not necessarily theological true, but it just makes sense from what I'm reading. Jesus is telling them that you'll be persecuted, but the gospel still got to be preached. There's no excuses. There's no way of saying, it's too dangerous, scary. Nope, that's not what he's saying. He's saying, do it. So, how do we do that? We're living in a culture now that is getting more and more aggressive, I would call it. I don't want to call it politics because it's not all politics. Sometimes it's just anti-religion, and sometimes it's just people that my hair's a mess, sorry. Sometimes it's just people that are want to fight. I mean, the internet has created this troll mentality that if I'm behind a screen, I can say whatever I want, and it's my right to be horrible. And we don't need that, right? So how do we as Christians relate to those people and show them and tell them our message of salvation without being like them? We go in like a bull in a china shop, knocking everything down. This is the way it is. God loves you. You better stop what you're doing. Or get a megaphone, stand in the corner. Who wouldn't want to do that, right? Get in the corner. Yeah, sinners. Yeah, I can see that right now. Or do we just individually take them, push them off in a corner and say, you're a sinner. You're awful. Christ died for you because you are so bad. That's a message that nobody wants to bring, right? As Christians, we understand that we're sinners. We are aware that we're flawed, but we're also aware that we all need Jesus. We're also aware that the scriptures are pretty specific, and unless we want to change them, which we're warned not to do, or retranslate them to make it sound a little more friendly, we have to be careful. But without Jesus' life, death, and resurrection, if they don't know it, and we can't deliver it, how can we do it? I took some of this message from the men's group this morning. It was funny that it fits so well with this one. In 1 Peter, in chapter 3, Peter goes into this great detail of how we should live. And he translates it into 2 words. Do good. Be compassionate and humble. Do not repay evil with evil. Be sympathetic. Turn from evil and keep your tongue from evil. How many of us haven't wanted to lash out with harsh words at somebody that has hurt us? Peter in this It's telling us that we should watch that. Be careful with it. What stops an argument quicker? Sharp words or a hug? Keep your tongue from evil and seek peace. Instead of going into any situation looking for battle, we should be looking for peace. It seems pretty simple. I think if we do that, we do all these things, or do good, as Peter says, we will present ourselves as different than the people around us, different from the people in the community. Not different in a bad way. Something that's appealing to most people that look at it and go, wow, that's awesome. I wish I was like that. We have it in our church. I see it every week. I see people hugging, and I see people talking and sharing their lives. I see people praying for people that they don't know. For me, the greatest gift in my church is that little time we spend praying for people down in front of the stage. Since the day we walked in our church, that has been that way for me. We've talked in meetings and stuff about how we shorten that, make it quicker. And to a man, nobody wants to. We know it's dead time. We know it's a long, sometimes it's going to be long, drawn out process. But we don't want to give that up because we're here for the hurting. We're here for the lost. And if somebody needs prayer, they should never leave a church lacking that. So that's my message. I pray that you all do good today. And, we always say, let someone see Jesus in you. And I believe it, but do we understand what that means? Does the guy that cuts you off in traffic see Jesus in you today? Does the cashier at Myers with a line all the way down the aisle see Jesus in you today? Good question. Something we should think about next time we're out in public. That as much as we're human, we're different. We're set apart. I pray this was a blessing to you. And let me see if anybody else came on.
Amber and Bill. Steve.
Hi, Carla. Hi, Carla. And thank you, Pastor G. I love his comments. He's always very uplifting, even when I'm stammering. I pray this was a blessing to you, and I pray that someone will see Jesus in you today. And I mean it. Have a nice
Monday.
Is it Monday already?
It's Monday.
It's Monday. All right. So let me see if I can find the firmly rooted end, which I'm so clumsy with this thing. Have a firmly rooted day. Peace.